In the quiet suburb of Maplewood, where the houses stood like guards in a row, their windows peering out like watchful eyes, there lived a woman named Sarah. Her life was a tapestry woven with the threads of devotion and duty, a life dedicated to the faith she had known since childhood, the faith of Jehovah's Witnesses. The world outside her community was a distant, blurred landscape, one she had been taught to tread cautiously, like a fragile ice over a deep, dark water. Sarah's heart, once a vessel of boundless love and warmth, now throbbed with a pain that seemed to echo through the empty rooms of her home. It was in this very house that she had raised her son, Michael, under the watchful doctrines of her faith. They had been inseparable, a mother and son united not just by blood, but by a shared belief in a higher purpose. But that bond was severed, cruelly and irrevocably, the day Michael chose a different path. The elders had been clear, their words delivered with a grave finality that left no room for doubt or question. Michael, having turned away from the faith to pursue a life outside the congregation, was to be shunned. As a devoted Jehovah's Witness, Sarah was expected to uphold this directive, to cut off all ties with her only son, as though he were a limb infected beyond healing. Each day, Sarah battled with the unnatural weight of this edict. Her motherly instincts screamed in protest, her heart aching to reach out to Michael, to hear his voice, to know if he was safe, happy, or even alive. But the teachings of her faith loomed over her, a dark cloud blotting out the warmth of her maternal love. She remembered the stern warnings about the dangers of spiritual contamination, the admonitions that association with those who had left the faith could jeopardize her own standing in the congregation and her prospects for eternal life. The house, once filled with Michael's laughter and endless chatter, now whispered with the ghosts of those memories. In the kitchen, where they had cooked together, the chair where he used to sit remained vacant, a silent testament to his absence. In his room, untouched since he left, the walls were adorned with remnants of his childhood, posters, photos, a world frozen in time. Sarah's friends in the congregation offered words of comfort, praising her for her steadfastness, for her loyalty to Jehovah's commandments. But their words were like a balm that failed to penetrate the deep, festering wound in her heart. She felt a growing chasm within her, a divide between her unyielding faith and the primal, grieving love of a mother. At night, she would sometimes wake from dreams where Michael's voice called out to her, a forlorn echo in a vast, empty space. She'd reached out into the darkness, her hands grasping nothing but air, the pain of his absence a sharp, unyielding knife in her chest. Sarah's world had narrowed to the confines of her faith, a faith that demanded a sacrifice too immense, too contrary to the very essence of her being. The love she held for her son was now a forbidden, guilty flame, burning in a hidden chamber of her heart. In her moments of solitude, when the shadows grew long and the light dimmed, Sarah would often find herself staring at the phone, aching with the desire to hear Michael's voice. Yet, each time she would retreat, a prisoner of her own beliefs, trapped in a cycle of sorrow and obedience. The damage of shunning, a wound invisible to the world, festered in the silence of her home. It was a slow, relentless erosion of the soul, for both the shunned and the one who shuns. In her obedience, Sarah had lost a part of herself, a part that once knew the unbridled joy of a mother's love. In its place, there lingered a haunting, pervasive melancholy, a reminder of the cost of faith when it demands a denial of one's deepest human bonds.